What's up, Turtle fans? I am the White Foot Soldier, and this is an unboxing and review of the brand new TMNT Krang with Android body by NECA. Was a pleasant surprise to see these in stores already for most of us, because NECA actually led us to believe that these were going to not be out until 2021. I think the initial release was 2020, and then it seemed like it got pushed back, and then all of a sudden they started showing up in stores. So super excited. I consider this an early Christmas gift for myself. Found it today at Target. What's really neat about these Ultimates, so this is obviously the Ultimate line, you know, like we saw with the metal head, so it's kind of got the same layout with almost like the VHS looking packaging. If you recall, the old school TMNT VHS tapes look very similar to this. We got Krang in the Bubble Walker in the 2-pack, and now this is the Android body. So something I did want to point out real quick too is this was actually a $34.99 figure. So this was not $29.99 like Metalhead was for the Ultimates. This was $34.99. So, but we get the awesome artwork there with Krang and a couple of the turtles up front. Wrath of Krang, the Wrath of Krang, I guess I should say. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo in the front there. There, volume 2 on the side with the Wrath of Krang. Same thing on that side. And then we get some of the different things that you can see, some of the accessories that are plugged in actually to the Krang Android body there. Some more cool artwork with the turtles and the turtle blimp. And then kind of a little bio down there at the bottom. So, and if we open this up, it has the window packaging. So that just has a little Velcro, as again, like I said, like Metalhead. Get the awesome picture of Krang in the Android body inside the Technodrome, and you can see Krang in all of his goodness there. So let's open this up and check out the accessories, and then we'll get Krang in the Android body. All right, guys, so let's check out the accessories first. We get some interchangeable hands for the Android body. So you can see this one's kind of a closed hand, almost like it's maybe holding something. Same one with, you know, with the other left hand there. And then we get two kind of grabbing hands, or a little bit more open palms there. We also get some lasers that you can plug right into the Android body, where they would be kind of hand swaps, I guess you would say, because that's where they would plug in at. So those are neat. We also get this saw looking thing. Now this actually spins, which is cool too, and that is pretty sharp, so be careful with that. You don't want to, you know, poke yourself, or you know, if your kid or anybody's playing with it, you want to be careful with that one. But that also plugs into the hand. And we get an axe. Again, this one plugs in there into the peg hole for the hand there. Get a little blue paint on that. And we also get two mace. So these mace are actually sharp as well, so be careful with those. They're really neat how they're sculpted on there. I'm impressed with these, because I didn't expect them to have a lot of weight to them, but they are pretty strong. And we get the chain that attaches in, and then the little peg to plug into the hole in the wrist, of course, where the hand would go. So that's neat that comes with two of those. And the chain is it metal? I think it might be. Yeah, it has a plastic end on it there for where it plugs in, but I think that might be a metal actually. Or maybe a harder plastic, I don't know. But it's clinging like it's like metal material, so I don't know if it's like painted over, but maybe that's why it's a little bit heavier and a little more durable looking. So that's cool, and you can kind of see where that's you know, sculpted right onto the mace part at the end there. And of course, we get the shower cap for Krang's Android body. This, of course, is an accessory that goes back to the famous episode where Krang was, you know, caught in the shower there, where they show him in the shower. So we get the comical-looking shower cap, and we also get a towel. Now, this towel, let's see if I can. Yeah, I think I'm on the right side there. Is just like a fabric material, almost like, I don't know, like felt, I guess you'd say, maybe like felt. So that's kind of a funny material, or a funny accessory to go along with Krang's Android body. And finishing out the shower accessories, we get the old soap on the rope. So that's something you probably haven't heard in a long time. The kids nowadays probably wouldn't even know what that is. But yeah, let's open a rope there. So we also get Baby Shredder. Now this accessory is really sweet. It's just neat that NECA includes things like this, you know, from the cartoon series that some people may have forgotten about. And this actually is articulated. So we get some movement in the head there, in the arms, and he comes with the armor too. And it's actually painted like a little bit like rusty on the shoulder pad area there. And then we get the crunch, or the ab crunch. I don't know if I can get that there. There we go. Whoa, I blew it apart, but there we go, the ab crunch there. And then his feet actually move a little bit too. So you can go side to side with his feet. So that's neat. The helmet's really nice there. The facial expression, of course, Shredder's not too thrilled that he's a baby, or a child, I guess you'd say. So little Shredder, young Shredder. And it also comes with a bag of blueprints. Now, the blueprints, this is neat because I don't know if this is a sign of things to come or not. But of course, we already got, you know, the one blueprint with it being the Android body. But let me pull them out here. So like I said, you get the Android body, which we have. But we also get the old Knucklehead. So that's really, really neat, and a throwback to, of course, the '87 cartoon, and what I think of right away is the Playmates toy. Playmates Toys Knucklehead. You know, I think it was 1988. I want to say, whenever this came out. So that's a cool little throwback there. I'm wondering if we are going to eventually start getting some vehicles and things like that, which would be really awesome if we did. And of course, here is Krang himself. Now we get little kind of ball joints, I guess you'd call them, in the tentacle area there, so it moves around. But this is really, really nicely tooled and sculpted. I mean, it's got some awesome grooves in there, some nice line work, some different shading down in there, and then we get the peg hole on the bottom. And before we check out the Android body, I want to compare the two Krangs. The right one being the Bubble Walker Krang that we got previously, and the left being the new Android version. So you can see they're a completely different sculpt, different mold altogether. So the Android body Krang is actually larger than the Bubble Walker Krang, and it's got some different grooves and cuts in it, and just some different features overall. I mean, of course, the big peg hole on the bottom for him to fit in the Android body is different. Compared to the Bubble Walker as well, and the tentacles are larger. They still rotate, so we get kind of the ball joints, as I had mentioned, in there, and they even have a different facial expression. So that's a neat touch. And now finally, the moment that all of you have probably been waiting for, the Android body itself. The thing looks awesome. I mean, just looking at it, the sculpt of it, the size of it, everything really, really looks neat. Except a few small complaints that we're going to talk about here. But overall, I mean, this was, I think I say this about every NECA figure for TMNT, but this was one that I was really anticipating. When I saw that they were releasing the Android body, of course, you know, that's a big part of the TMNT 87 series, and it was exciting. So let's check out the Android body here. Of course, again, like I said, we get the amazing sculpt. We get some line work on the chest, the shoulder pads, the kind of bulky arms, kind of stubby, I guess you'd say too, and kind of the skinnier legs. The nice little area for Krang to go in, and we actually get, see if I can see down in there better with the light. We actually get the controls there. Now these controls do move around, so that's a neat touch. What else we got? His like underwear tights are a rubber material. So that's something I did want to point out there. One thing that I do notice about this is the paint apps. Now everything's painted correctly, I feel like, but there are some messiness going on. I mean, there's a spot up here by his chest. Down here by the leg, we get the red kind of rubbing off. I think it's like that on that one too. There's almost like an oil, I think, too, on there. I've noticed. I don't know what that's all about. A chip on his shin there. And then the complaint with Leatherhead is kind of similar to this, except it's not a different color. They painted the joints. So whenever you're moving the joints, the paint's falling off, and it kind of looks chintzy like that. So I don't know. I might just rub that off because it's probably going to look better, because it's a close enough tan to where it's not too big of a deal. But that is something I wanted to mention. But overall, as I said, you know, that there are always going to be some complaints, in this one, you know, being mainly the messy paint and some of the joints. You know, having some paint over top of them and whatnot. But this guy is awesome though, like I said. So we get the shoulder pads, kind of comes down over top there. Now that is sculpted on, that doesn't move. The shoulder pads are sculpted on as well, but they do lift up and they are rubber material. We get the goggles at the top there. The goggles looking good. That head sculpt is money. They nailed it. Speaking of head sculpt, I wanted to make sure that I get the antenna in. This did come with 2 antennas. Antennae, I think, is the correct plural word for, or a way of saying that for antenna. Be careful with that. I don't want to snap it. But right there. So that looks good. We get the antenna. Push them back far enough so you can see them. The red gloves, red boots. What else we got? Kind of the metalish yellow part around the torso area there, around the waist. We get this bar thing in the back. I'm not real sure, what that's about. I don't really remember that. It's probably on there. Just little details like that I don't remember. Some nice line work. We do get some shading too. It's a little bit hard to tell, but there is a darker peach color and then the lighter peach color in the front. Get this little kind of knob thing on his butt. See that he's, not a human. He's got some different parts there, almost like some bionic action going on. It's kind of a little grate looking thing up there. Get some line work over. He's kind of, a chubbier looking android body, of course, in the cartoon. So we get kind of the fat rolls on the back of the neck there and on the elbows. Get the kind of wrist guard, metal wrist guard type of things. Again, the line work, I don't know if I mentioned that on the chest, but he does look really good. The sculpt of him and the size of him is what I really, really like about him. Now, this comes apart because we can't fit Krang straight back in. So I'm a little scared about this because I saw somebody snap this yellow piece. So you have to be really careful. And from my understanding, that there aren't directions, at least that I was able to find. You have to kind of stick your finger up in there and push, and then that pops off. Again, I'm a little nervous about that, but we're going to test that out, and then you'll be able to see the peg hole there, and then you can kind of see down in. It's a little bit difficult, but that's where Krang will go, and then we'll be able to, put him in there and do some poses. But before we do that, let's run down through the articulation again. The head moves quite a bit back and forth, side to side, twists. The arms move up and down. This isn't really hindered because the shoulder pads are rubber. So that kind of moves around there, a nice big ball joint. Same in the elbow, wrist swivels, waist swivels around. Up in the hip, we get some nice movement there. Double jointed knees, so that's nice. Now the left knee is tight, like this one, you can see that's kind of loose right there, but the top part's tight, so I might dip him in some warm water or something because I don't want to break him. Like you can see some paint actually on my finger there that's falling out. And I don't know. No, I was gonna say, I think that's, yeah, never mind. So anyway, down by the ankle area there, we get back and forth, side to side, side to side. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little bit of side to side. It's not like, Shredder and stuff, how you can really get some movement there. But I think that pretty much covers the articulation. Again, the big selling point for me is the sculpt of this android body. I mean, it just looks like they just took it right out of the cartoon because it's just got that bubbly look to it, like almost like puffy looking, body, and kind of almost looks like a wrestler. I've always thought he looked like a wrestler with the tights and, the gloves and stuff. So, all right, enough babbling here. Let's get Krang in his android body. All right, guys, so that was extremely scary. I'm sweating. I'm here trying to figure out, how that popped off and, pushed up on it, and it did pop off. I was very careful. This is a fragile part, so be extremely careful with that. I did see somebody broke theirs doing that. So basically what happens is you see that little peg hole there, that pops down in there, and then there's on each side as well. So that's how that goes in. Not the most ideal thing. It'd be nice if there was kind of like a release or something, so then you're not afraid of breaking them. The top part is very heavy. You'll notice that. The bottom part, not too bad. Top part is very heavy though. That's a plastic. I just wanted to tap that so you guys can hear that. And you can kind of see down in the android body there, Krang's little cavity there, where he's going to go. And I don't know if I pointed it to the sides there as well. but there's some shading, some darker yellow and some lighter yellow, and then these kind of big button things on the side. Now, they don't do anything. Just thinking too, somebody else had mentioned this, but it would have been neat if this guy would have came with wings, you know, because Krang in the 87 series did fly. But that's besides the point, what we're talking about here now. So there's the bottom part, as I had mentioned, and we get Krang. Now he just slides down on top of that peg hole, or that peg, and then the hole goes up in, and you can kind of maneuver him. Actually do that here. All right, so you can kind of get him around the controls there, his tentacles, as you can see. So that looks neat, and I'm glad that they allowed enough space and considered that. There's kind of a shot from the side. You can see how he's going to control the android body, and of course spins around there. So let me pop the top off here, or pop the top back on, I should say, and then we'll have a look at him as a whole. And again, I was pretty much sweating trying to get that back down on. Man, I'm so worried about snapping that, you know, it was a little scary. So I think I'm going to just leave that on and leave that like that. So there he is. He looks really neat in there. We don't get the glass shield, you know, that we got with the Playmates version, with plastic, of course, but we don't get that in front of them there. And here's a little comparison with the Toon Shredder. So I think you guys would be curious to see what the size is like. So there's Toon Shredder next to Krang's android body. And there's a look at Raphael, so one of the turtles next to Krang's android body. You can see just how big this guy is. And to kind of wrap things up here, we are going to take one of his hand swaps off. And we're going to put in the mace just so you guys can kind of see how those work. Now that just has the peg, and there's the peg hole, and it should pop up right in there. So there's how the mace looks. So that looks really sweet. And we'll actually put on his soap and a rope there. It just fits around his neck nicely. And then his shower cap. Now, his shower cap is pretty loose. I don't know. I see there's a hole in the top of that. I'm going to see if I can get this peg down in, and maybe we can stick that down through. Yeah, that might, and then that might keep that on better. So that might be what the deal is there. If you wanted to keep them, yeah, so there we go. So now that actually keeps it on better. So that's nice that you're able to have the antenna. And then of course, you know, that's why that was loose to begin with. All right, guys, so this has been an unboxing and review of the Krang Android Body TMNT Figure Ultimates by NECA. Now, these guys are shipping to stores in larger quantities, it seems like. We're getting about 6 per case, and then a lot of stores are actually receiving 12, so 2 cases, a lot of them are receiving 12 Krangs. So hopefully you don't have any trouble finding this guy, because he's totally worth it. Like I said, a little more expensive, but you're getting a ton of accessories. And let's just have a look here at how big he is compared to a little Shredder there, and then we'll finish this up. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe for more TMNT news and reviews.